If you would have advanced to week 16, who are you picking up on the waiver wire? Let's take a look right now on FFT Express. All right. A lot of names, a lot of injuries means a lot of names on the waiver wire. So who are the headliners? Jamey Eisenberg is here to tell us. What's up, Jamey? How's the waiver wire looking?
It's interesting. Like you said, it's a lot of injuries. We'll see if these injury replacements can step up and perform at a high level. But when you lose Patrick Mahomes, you lose most likely Devontae Adams. You have a lot of running back injuries that we could see some replacement guys. Not ideal for Week 16. Not ideal for the fantasy semifinals. But here we are.
Yeah. So who's the best player to get, or some of the best players to get this week?
I think when you look at the running back position, you start with Michael Carter. And I know you may say Croskey-Merritt is the better of the two because of body of work and what he's done. But, you look at the matchup here. Washington's not going to, I think, have a lot of success running against Philadelphia, especially if Jalen Carter returns. And Michael Carter gets to face an Atlanta defense that, has really been bad against running backs. So I'm going to lean Carter over Croskey-Merritt. You have the situation in Denver with R.J. Harvey out. So Jaleel McLaughlin most likely is the best bet there. You have the situation in New Orleans where I'm going to lean Audric Estime over Evan Hull in that scenario. And then at wide receiver, for me, it's there's really not a guy in for the Rams that I like the best. So you look at the situation with Christian Watson, I'm going to go Jaden Reed, hope that what we've seen from him in his career, a little bit better than Matthew Golden, but Golden obviously worth adding as well. But Jaden Reed hopefully has an opportunity here against the Bears defense that he could have some success.
You said R.J. Harvey out. Was that just you meant yesterday he was out?
If R.J. Harvey's out.
If R.J. Harvey. We don't know anything yet, right?
So the running back injuries that we're looking at here, and we don't know definitively, except anyone but Zonovan Knight. So we're talking about Woody Marks. Looks like he's going to be able to play. Devin Neal, we don't know. R.J. Harvey, we don't know. And Alvin Kamara, we don't know.
Okay. Yeah. Was there anything? Yeah, it was a rough week for injuries for sure. Okay. Quarterbacks. Who are we looking at here?
I think you got to go Minshew number one. It's a great matchup. And so imagine we have Patrick Mahomes taking on the Titans. It's just really unfortunate. But with Mahomes out, just from a 1 week situation, I think you just got to go week by week at this point, not looking at week 17. But Minshew taking on the Titans, it's been 7 of 8 quarterbacks, 21.6 fantasy points or more. 4 in a row have done that. So I'm going to give Minshew a slight edge over Bryce Young and Tyler Shuck. None of these guys are in my top 12. So you are talking about desperate situations.
I feel like you're missing my man. I don't know why he's my man, but right now, Kirk Cousins at Arizona.
So Cousins on the list, but we never know which Kirk Cousins is going to show up.
Yeah, it looks like Drake London might show up. They're calling him day to day, but man, it's going to be tempting some of these guys. Like Trevor, we just got done talking about Trevor Lawrence at Denver. You going Trevor Lawrence or waiver wire?
Right now, I have Lawrence still ranked ahead of those guys, but it's close. It's really close.
Okay.
How about I think when you look at it, when you look at Minshew against the Titans, when you look at Shuck and Young in their matchups, Young taking on Tampa Bay, Shuck taking on the Jets, they just gave up 54 fantasy points to Trevor Lawrence, and the run game is non-existent right now for New Orleans. If there's injuries there, he's gotten you 87 rushing yards and 2 touchdowns in his last 2 games on the ground. So, Shuck is interesting. Cousins, like you said, taking on Arizona, and then the game that he just had against Tampa Bay as well. And then I think you also consider potentially, if you're stuck, still Marcus Mariota. I know it's not an easy matchup, but for the most part, he's had a good body of work.
By the way, for Trevor Lawrence, he's facing the Broncos on the road. Broncos could be without starting safety Brandon Jones. He left the game with an injury. Okay, running backs. I think you kind of touched on it, actually, but your favorite one would be Michael Carter.
Michael Carter, then Croskey-Merritt. You got to look again just in case there is no Woody Marks and Nick Chubb. Jawar Jordan just had over 100 yards rushing and a great matchup this week against the Raiders. The situation in Denver, again, I'd lean McLaughlin over Tyler Bidet. Audric Estime and Evan Hull, you're looking there. And then there's a few guys that I think are worth, look if you're stuck. Keaton Mitchell's gotten you at least 6.6 PPR points or more in 3 straight games. Sean Tucker looks like he's going to be the goal line guy for Tampa Bay. We'll see if that continues, but some touchdown opportunities there. And then we got the scares going into the week or in the week in week 15 of Christian McCaffrey. Was he going to play with a back injury? Please just put Brian Robinson Jr. on your bench. And then Javonte Williams left the game briefly for the Cowboys Sunday night against Minnesota. Malik Davis just needs a guy stashed on your bench as well.
Yep. All right. And we'll be right back. We'll talk about the wide receivers to add off the waiver wire when we come back on Fantasy Football Today Express. Okay. Who's your favorite wide receiver? Jaden Reed, was it?
Yeah, Jaden Reed. Again, we'll see if Matthew Golden can do anything where you can trust him. But Christian Watson has yet to be ruled out, but it is a Saturday game. Knowing his injury track record, I'm going to guess he probably misses this game, but just something to keep an eye on there. But obviously, Jaden Reed is, to me, a little bit safer and has just as much upside as Matthew Golden. I think Golden will hopefully pick up where he left off. I thought he played well against Denver, but still not anything there to trust. I think Reed could be a starter in 3 receiver leagues.
Anyone else that you really like?
So you got to keep an eye on the Bears situation. Both Rome Odunze did not. Well, Rome Odunze did not play, as we know, with the last minute injury.
Oh, you don't say.
Yeah, last minute injury, and then Luther Burden left the game. Burden played great. We'll see if Burden is out. If both guys are out, you look at Olamide Zaccheaus, but not in this spot. But if Burden does play and Odunze is still out, I think he's clearly worth looking at and potentially starting against the Packers because, as we know, their defense is not going to be the same. Once you get past those two situations, Jalen Coker's now had 2 solid games in a row, taking on Tampa Bay. I think he's worth a look. Could be a starter in 3 receiver leagues. Adonai Mitchell, another touchdown for him. Had 9 targets, caught 6 of them. Taking on the Saints, I think he's worth potential starter in 3 receiver leagues. And Rashid Shaheed for the last 2 weeks has played well for the Seahawks there. Rams, we know their secondary hasn't exactly been great, but again, deeper 3 receiver leagues, I'd take a look at Rashid Shaheed as well.
All right. And then, you talked about Olamide Zaccheaus, but I think Colston Loveland will be certainly someone that people are gravitating to. He's been solid, he's been usable, but now might be a really, really nice opportunity here against the Packers. Is he your top? I don't even know the roster percentages. Is Loveland your top tight end?
Just misses the cut, 66%. So he's in the shallower leagues. There's actually 2 guys at 66% you should be looking to add. One is Loveland. The other is Dalton Schultz, who's just been awesome.
Yeah.
So 66% for him. Kyle Pitts only 81%. So some 10-team leagues, he may still be out there. Drake London plays, that changes things a little bit, but still, you want to be starting right now. Kyle Pitts, without Drake London in my rankings, is the number 3 tight end. So it's
I was going to say 2.
Kittle, Tim.
Oh, okay, you put Kittle ahead of him. I thought he'd be 2 behind McBride.
No, I think you've got to still give Pitts his due, plus his matchup against the Colts. But yeah, Loveland 66%. My number 1 tight end, and this is really the Rams replacement, is Colby Parkinson. Had 5 catches, scored 2 touchdowns. We know Seattle struggles against tight ends. I believe Parkinson, I haven't looked at this yet, but I believe Parkinson had a good game against Seattle the first time that they met. So like the situation for him. Theo Johnson, just under the threshold, 65%. He just continues to be a go-to guy for Jackson Dart. Like the situation for him. Oronde Gadsden, I thought bounced back well, and without Quentin Johnson there, he's somebody I think you look at with their matchup against Dallas. He's probably the safest of the Chargers receivers at this point, but great matchup, as we know, taking on that secondary for Dallas. And then let's give TJ Hawkinson some credit. It's been a miserable season for him, but the last 3 weeks, have been productive. And taking on the Giants, we know that they've been up and down against tight ends. I think Hawkinson is worth a look. He's 50% rostered.
Colby Parkinson caught a touchdown against Seattle a few weeks ago. 2 catches, 14 yards, and a touchdown on 2 targets. Obviously, we're not expecting Devontae Adams to play, so opens up the door for Parkinson, who's 21% rostered. DSTs, who do you like?
Saints are number 1, taking on the Jets. We'll see who starts at quarterback for them, but I think you got to look at the Saints first. Vikings would be next. They take on the Giants. Lions, we'll see what the Steelers' offense looks like tonight, but at home, we know that they could build a lead and then, get after the quarterback a little bit. So the Lions will be third. And then the kickers, Eddie Pinheiro, Zane Gonzalez, and Andres Borregales all have good matchups, and Pinheiro has just been solid every time he's been healthy for San Francisco. I apologize for my dog. She's been a little rowdy today.
She started Odunze yesterday. She's really, really fired up about it.
Bad commissioner.
Yeah. All right, everybody. Thanks so much for watching and listening. We will talk to you tomorrow with a much longer look at the waiver wire and a lot to talk about. For Jamie, I'm Adam. See you later.